Welcome. I'm just going to stand up here and stall us for just a second because I see a couple people who are trying to get to their seats. So welcome to our 2025 Institute Address. My name is Abigail Tempe. I'm Vice President of Communications. I'm super excited to bring on the stage President Ángel Cabrera. But first, we would like to show you the video of our public service announcement for the year.
Impossible. We love that word.
Clear.
It's a challenge to explore the unknown, to sculpt skylines, to map the human mind, and propel humanity to the edges of Earth. At Georgia Tech, we are determined to forge a better tomorrow because the world is counting on us. Yet possible. It's not just a challenge, it's a calling.
Man. Great job, Abigail. I'm pumped after seeing that. That's awesome. Well, good morning to all of you. Buenos dias, Yellow Jackets. Welcome to the 2025 Institute Address. I'm delighted to be with you at the Ehmer Theater in the John Lewis Student Center to celebrate what has been truly an extraordinary year at Georgia Tech. Now, the accomplishments I'm about to share belong to each one of you, and I hope as you hear them that you take pride in them and enjoy the satisfaction of just a job well done. It has been a record year for Georgia Tech in every way that matters. We received a record number of applications. We admitted our largest and most accomplished class. Students enrolled in record numbers, and we just welcomed the largest first-year class in Institute history. Our online master's programs continue to grow too, pushing our overall enrollment to an all-time high, not just for Georgia Tech, but for the entire state of Georgia. We are one of the fastest growing public universities in the nation over the past decade. Now, the appeal of a Georgia Tech degree should not come as a surprise. Georgia Tech students pay less, graduate faster, and are more likely to get a great job than those who go elsewhere. A formula that provides our students with one of the highest returns on their investment in the country. Now, when we wrote our strategic plan, you may recall that we committed to amplifying our impact. For those of you who like formulas, you can think of impact as a function, a product, more precisely, of how many students we serve and how much value we provide to each of them. When we serve a record number of students, when we offer them best-in-class outcomes, we are basically delivering on our promise. On the research side, we also reach new heights, with GTRI earning almost $1 billion in research awards this past year, and the entire institute coming just shy of $1.5 billion. We have become one of the leading universities conducting research on behalf of the American people. Now, factor in the support we provide to businesses and entrepreneurs across the state, the direct economic impact of our work, and the companies that we help create and attract to our state and to this neighborhood, and you get one of the key engines of economic opportunity and dynamism in Georgia. In short, we are getting the job done. And for that, I thank each one of you and I congratulate you. None of this, of course, would be possible without the talent and dedication of one of the best teams in American higher education. And I'm happy to report that our team keeps growing. I want to offer a warm welcome to all of our new faculty and staff who joined our team this year. I know you had options, and I'm delighted that you chose Georgia Tech. We all look forward to working with you, and I encourage each of you to bring everything, all the experience that you have, and push us to do better. Now, among all of our new team members, I want to highlight a few who have joined our leadership team. I want to introduce Ryan Alpert, who joined us as Vice President and Director of Athletics in July. and deliver his first football win this last Friday. Awesome. Okay, Tricia Chastain became our new Executive Vice President of Admin and Finance. She did not win a football game, but she finished the big dig. She fixed the chillers, basically. Yeah, there you go. Carrie Davis-Nosmak was the former Chief of Staff for the Provost, and before that, Chair of the Faculty Executive Board, and I appreciate very much that she stepped in as our interim Provost in June. Tomer Ender also stepped up as an interim Director and Senior Vice President of GTRI in May. In August, Bill Gaudelli joined Georgia Tech as Dean of our new College of Lifetime Learning. And Jim Hall, a longtime development officer at Georgia Tech, was appointed Vice President for Development in January, and, spoiler alert, just delivered a fundraising record. Tim Lewin, who had served in the interim role since September, became our permanent Executive Vice President of Research. He, too, just announced record numbers. Amanda Murdy started as Dean of the Ivan Allen College of Liberal Arts in June, after previously serving as department chair at a school in Athens whose name escapes me at the moment. And Kim Toadley was named Vice President for Finance and Planning and Chief Financial Officer in January, and doubled up for a few months as interim Chief Business Officer. I'm also pleased to welcome the leaders of our Student Government Association, undergraduate President Sultan Ziad. Sultan, say hi, right here. And graduate President Will Pavlik, I don't know if he's here. Noted. No, we love Will too. As well as Adam Steinberg, Secretary of the Faculty, Dima Nazal, Chair of the Faculty Executive Board, Shamisha Bowers, Chair of the Faculty of the Staff Council. We have Dean Sheehan, President of the Georgia Tech Alumni Association, Al Trujillo, President of the Georgia Tech Foundation. Each one of you plays a key role at Georgia Tech, and I appreciate you, and I thank you for what you do. So last year, President or Institute Address, I announced a refreshed strategic plan that articulated our goals around what we call for big bets. Now, it is quite unusual for universities to be that explicit in declaring their aspirations, but in Pure Yellow Jacket, we can do that spirit. That's exactly what we did. And even though the goals, the big bets are so aspirational, we're actually making significant progress on all of them. Very importantly, our big bets do not concern our reputation or rankings, what others think about us, although we appreciate all the rankings. They say great things about us. But the big bets are about what we do for others, what we do to have a bigger impact on the people that we serve. So, how well are we doing? Let's go one by one. Big bet number one, remember, is to be a national leader in outcomes and value for all students. Again, for the formula inclined, think of value as the career outcomes that a degree leads to, divided by or given how much it costs to earn a degree in both money and time. Now, thanks to generous investments from our state and the care each of you takes in using our resources, we have been able to reduce in-state tuition and fees over the past 6 years by $674 in nominal dollars. In inflation-adjusted terms, that amounts to a reduction of about 1/4. This is remarkable considering that since 2019, national averages for in-state tuition and fees at public universities actually rose by $2,200. Now, many in higher education seem to believe that one must charge high tuition and fees to signal quality, as if a degree were some sort of luxury good. We beg to disagree. In addition to keeping our undergraduate tuition well below our peers, we're known around the world for our online master's programs that offer a top education at a fraction of the normal cost. Even our MBA was recently recognized by the media as the most affordable among the top 25 programs in the country. Love the LinkedIn post yesterday by the Scheller School showing that that's a ranking we love to come in dead last on. In addition to paying less, our students also graduate faster. At public universities nationwide, less than 2/3, about 63% of undergraduates finish their degrees in 6 years or less, 63%. Many never do. At Georgia Tech, 93% of our students do. Nationally, less than half of students, 45%, finish within 4 years. Here, most finish in that time, 75%, and that number keeps growing. Actually, an increasing number of our students even manage to graduate in less than 4 years by leveraging credits they earned while in high school. And then when they graduate, our students land some of the best paying jobs according to third-party analyses and media rankings. So this combination of affordability, on-time graduation, and career outcomes has earned us the top position in the Princeton Review's list of universities with the highest return on investment 3 years in a row. Now, importantly though, our big bet promises best-in-class value for all students. All students. That means recruiting talented students from all socioeconomic levels and making sure they all achieve excellent outcomes. So we're making progress in recruiting students with financial need and ensuring they graduate on time. Our number of Pell Grant students is growing. They graduate at much higher rates than national norms. And according to the Department of Education's College Scorecard, Pell Grant students earn some of the highest salaries in the nation 10 years after enrolling, about $102,000, which is almost double the national average. But there is much more that we need to do in this area. We need to keep those numbers improving, and one of the most effective things we can do is take care of that financial need of those students. And I have some good news to share on that front. This past fiscal year, thanks to the work of our development team, we raised a record $300 million in private donations. A large part of those donations went into the Invest in the Best campaign. This is a matching challenge that was sponsored by the Georgia Tech Foundation, dollar-to-dollar matching, that has helped us create a $100 million endowment for need-based scholarships. All these numbers, all these fundraising is putting us on track to reach our $2 billion plus. Actually, remember it's 2 to the 31 minus 1 dollars, which is the goal for that campaign. I want to congratulate the entire development team, as well as our alumni association that also set up a record this year through roll call. And I'll tell you, as much as the dollars matter, it is inspiring to see our alumni and friends step up and bet on us in such historic fashion. Now, our second big bet is to double the annual number of degrees granted and non-degrees learners that we serve over this decade. Now, if you use 2019 as the baseline, our annual goal for 2030 comes out to 15,000 degrees per year. Now, this may not have been the smartest thing to commit to, given the national decline in the number of students graduating from high school and going to college, which is declining. Timing for our big bet was not ideal. And to even say we're going to double the number of degrees, even a little crazier. And yet, I'm happy to report, as you can see in that chart, a new record of 13,000 degrees awarded this past academic year, which is ahead of where we needed to be to achieve our goal. Now, also important to note is that our big bet targets degrees, not enrollment. Our goal is not to keep as many students as possible enrolled and paying tuition. Our goal is for students to earn our degree as soon as they can and move on to bigger and better things. So to double degrees, we need to not only enroll more students, but we also need to make sure that they graduate. I already shared our excellent graduation rates. Let me share some data about enrollment. This past year, we received nearly 67,000 applications for first-year admission. This is a 12% increase over 2024 and a new school record. Of the students we admitted, almost half of them chose to come to Georgia Tech. Now think about it, since we're one of the most selective public universities in the country, we know students we admit have plenty of options to choose from. The fact that students choose us almost half of the time is extraordinary. In fact, this is one of the highest yields among public universities, and it is a clear sign that Georgia Tech is one of the most sought-after universities in the nation. This past month, we welcomed 4,075 new first-year students, the largest incoming class in our history, alongside with about 1,000 transfers from other schools. Those numbers include many impressive students from other states and other countries. But most of our undergraduates, about 60%, are Georgia residents, and were admitted this year at a rate of about 29%, compared to an overall admit rate of 13%. So thanks to outreach efforts, and I appreciate the work of the admissions team, we have seen major increases in applications and students from rural areas and low-income neighborhoods. In addition to the tons of opportunities students have on campus and abroad, and big shout out to Georgia Tech Europe that had its 35th anniversary this year and has plans to keep growing. A big reason why more students want to study at Georgia Tech stems from what our faculty, our school chairs, our deans are doing to keep our programs relevant and attractive, including new majors, minors, and graduate pathways, many of them in pure Georgia Tech style, in collaboration among our colleges and schools. Special shout out this year for the new interdisciplinary Bachelors of Science in Arts, Entertainment, and Creative Technologies. I can't wait for that program to get started. Also, our online master's program celebrated their 10th anniversary this year in the best possible way by surpassing 26,000 students. Now, few in higher education thought it possible for a top research university to offer successful graduate programs entirely online at scale and at a lower cost than the normal program. Today, if we were to go by all the invitations we received to share our story around the world, I gave one of those presentations this year in Paris, we seem to have turned many skeptics into believers. When you put all this together, this adds up to a record enrollment for us, the largest in our state, and one of the fastest growing in the nation. There is, however, an area of concern: PhD enrollments and international graduate students. This year, we will have 15% fewer incoming PhD students, and that includes a 27% decline in international PhD students. And also, the international incoming students for our masters, the other is about 26% lower than last year. Now, these declines are not unique to Georgia Tech. They are a national trend. It is a worrisome trend in any case. And I just want to emphasize the international graduate students play a key role, not just at Georgia Tech, but in strengthening American research and innovation. We will continue to do everything we can to keep a healthy pipeline of international students coming in and sharing around the world that international students are welcome at Georgia Tech and in this country. Okay. Now, the other part of this big bet is non-degree learners. And last year, we're very excited to launch the College of Lifetime Learning to serve non-traditional students. to develop innovative learning models and technologies and help working professionals grow or pivot in their careers. And I'm excited to work with Dean Gaudelli, very grateful to Nelson Baker for getting us here, now with Dean Gaudelli to grow our programs in this space. Now, I do realize that all this extraordinary growth is placing a lot of pressure on our faculty, our staff, and our physical infrastructure. And I want you to know that our leadership team is focused on securing resources and improving systems to relieve the pressure as much as we can. On the physical side, new construction projects are making great progress, including new first-year dorms on Current Street, the new George and Scheller Towers in Tech Square, the renovation of DM Smith. All those projects are on course to open this next year. Additionally, the provost and other senior leaders are working hard to ensure our human capital, student services, campus operations, administrative services keep pace as well. But while we deal with those challenges that are inevitable when you're growing at this pace, I hope everyone takes great satisfaction in the surge of demand for what we do and the fact that we're finding ways to serve more people and change more lives. Then our third big bet is to double the scale and amplify the impact of our research enterprise. Again, if we use the 2019 numbers as a baseline, our target for 2030 is $1.67 billion in expenditures. Now, timing is also tricky for this one. Given all the recent changes around federal research funding, we approach this goal with some apprehension this year. Indeed, between January this year and June, 46 projects at Georgia Tech worth a combined almost $15 million were canceled. Now, these cancellations are painful. They affect faculty members, and I appreciate the work of Tim Lewin and the deans in what they're doing to support these faculty and ensure our graduate students can progress towards their degree. But I also have to say that while we lost 46 projects and $15 million, our faculty were awarded more than 10 times as many new projects worth a collective $600 million during the same period. So it's crazy is that altogether, we ended the 2025 fiscal year with a record almost $1.5 billion in research awards. That's an 8% increase over the previous year. And expenditures followed suit with a record $1.43 billion, which is a 7% increase over the year before. Now, all of this support that we receive from taxpayers, from foundations, from corporate partners, allows us to advance areas of science and technology that are critical for our nation. Think AI, space exploration, cybersecurity, advanced defense systems, surgical devices, new drugs, new drug delivery systems, technologies to assist people with brain injuries or disease, new insights into the world we inhabit and worlds beyond our own, new ways to generate, distribute, store, and use energy, better ways to build cities and transportation systems, cars, planes, drones, whatever comes to mind when you think of human beings living better lives, chances are Georgia Tech researchers are working on and making contributions in that space. Now, we're obviously not immune to volatility in government investments in research, but as long as we keep our focus on areas of strategic importance for our country, I think we'll be okay. A key component of our research enterprise that I want to highlight is GTRI. This is our applied research arm, which is responsible, as I've mentioned, for about 2/3 of our entire research volume. GTRI's biggest sponsor is the U.S. Department of Defense. We support national security by developing cutting-edge technologies and systems that expand the capabilities of our armed forces and keep our soldiers safe. Think advanced radar threat simulators to train pilots to evade enemy missiles, or integrated sensors for air and missile defense, cybersecurity systems to protect critical energy infrastructure, and even wearable sensors that provide early warnings of heat stroke for soldiers, also with applications for farm workers and other spaces. Now, GTRI works outside of national security too, from helping Georgia's rural schools teach computer science to forecasting weather and designing robots to support farmers across our state. GTRI also hires tons of Georgia Tech students and graduates, nearly 500 of our 3,000 strong team. GTRI gives them invaluable experience, mentors them, gets them security clearances, and helps them go on to successful careers in government, industry, and national labs. GTRI researchers also teach classes at Georgia Tech. They offer hands-on student learning opportunities through vertically integrated projects, and they support the work of faculty and graduate students across the institute, including some who have lost research funding. It is hard to imagine Georgia Tech without GTRI. It is our secret weapon that we have spent 90 years perfecting. Now, our fourth big bet is to build a national hub for innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship right here in our city and around our campus. It's also hard to imagine Atlanta today without Tech Square, West Midtown, and even now Science Square, which are some of our city's most vibrant neighborhoods. Well, it is important to remind everybody that without Georgia Tech, we would not have any of them, and we're not done yet. Over in Tech Square, the George and Scheller Towers are just months away from completion. These towers will house the Stewart School of Industrial Engineering and the Scheller College of Business, MBA, and Executive Education programs. It will add more than 400,000 square feet of much-needed space to our campus for teaching, research, and innovation. Next to the new towers, the Georgia Tech Foundation is transforming the old Biltmore Hotel into a startup hub. And I'm delighted that new companies keep choosing our neighborhood to do business, including Cargill, that just set up shop almost across the street from the George Tower. Science Square is making excellent progress too. Duracell is investing $56 million to open its new global headquarters for research and development in Science Square Labs, the building that we developed with partners. Shriners Children's will construct a $153 million pediatric research institute in the same building. We're working with our partners at Emory University to build 7 medical research labs to support our collaborative work in cancer, cell therapy, biomanufacturing, immunology, tissue generation, all this stuff. Earlier this year, we also announced Creative Quarter, a new mixed-use development by the Georgia Tech Foundation that will be anchored around the former Randall Brothers property on Marietta Street, and that will support work at the intersection of technology, art, entertainment, and the creative industries. When you put together all this work, it adds up. Last month, the University System of Georgia published its annual economic impact report, which showed that Georgia Tech's statewide impact in fiscal year 24 climbed to a record $5.8 billion. This is 10% higher than the year before, and it accounts for more than a quarter of the combined impact of all 26 USG institutions. So we're grateful for the generous investment we receive from Georgia taxpayers every year, and are proud to have an immediate impact that is 10 times greater than that investment. In addition to the even bigger and more lasting impact that is not captured in those numbers. That longer lasting impact comes from the companies we help attract, support, and create, our homegrown commercialization efforts, which, by the way, this year includes also a record 143 startups, 464 invention disclosures, 124 patents granted just this past fiscal year. So you also have to add to that the support of ATDC, the Advanced Technology Development Center, the work that it does to support entrepreneurs statewide. Add to that the assistance that our many EI² programs provide to Georgia businesses and industries, and all the ways we help our state's economic development teams compete to attract new investments. In each of these vital categories, our impact continues to grow year after year. So, put all that together, we made a very public and explicit, ambitious, we declared these 4 big bets. Not perfectly timed, not very sane in their ambition. And what's crazier is we're making amazing progress on each one of them. This was a truly remarkable year. This year, these results are neither inevitable nor easy. I want to emphasize that. We weren't propelled by favorable winds. Rather, in many cases, we sailed upwind and against the currents. Amid a national decline in first-time undergraduate students, we've grown freshman class by about 1/3 since 2019. Between 2019 and 2023, National University Research Awards grew by 7.6%. That's the national number for all universities in research, 70.6. Ours grew by nearly 11%. In 2019, we were ranked number 8 in federal research awards. By 2023, we were number 3, and the only institution in the top 25 without a medical school. Even this year, when other institutions have seen their funding cut, we posted our best year ever with an 8% increase in awards. What's happening at Georgia Tech is not a case of a rising tide that is lifting all boats. We are beating the odds. This is the result of the hard work and determination of an extraordinary academic community that is committed to making a bigger difference, no matter the trends, no matter the market forces, or the political context that we face. So I am deeply grateful to our faculty, to our staff, the leadership team, who were able to achieve so much this year. And I'm equally thankful to all who have invested in us, our state and federal governments, our amazingly generous donors, our corporate foundation partners. By the way, how about that Wall Street Journal article this weekend highlighting the word? Never mind. Our alumni volunteer leaders, some of them with us today, and our tuition-paying students and their families, who also invest heavily in this place. Each of these groups made record investments in us this year. And I hope the results that I'm sharing show them how much care we take in putting their resources to good use to achieve meaningful outcomes, to improve the lives of our students, to advance the prosperity of our state, the security of our nation, and the well-being of people around the world. Now, the year ahead won't be easy. We face considerable risks that we need to acknowledge and be ready to address. One area of risk is the heightened level of government scrutiny over issues of discrimination, research compliance, international collaborations, and others. Penalties in each of these categories can be severe, and we need to be extremely alert to changing rules and committed to full compliance. The U.S. Attorney General, for example, recently published new guidance about how the government will be evaluating discrimination. So we need to make sure none of our programs can be deemed as out of compliance. Federal administration has also announced that it will reduce its reimbursement of the so-called indirect costs. These are real costs that we incur in conducting sponsored research on behalf of the American people. So we're ready to do our part in helping our government be more efficient. But without adequate funding from somewhere, we simply cannot afford to do that important work we do on behalf of the American people. Critical research that helps our nation stay safer, healthier, more secure, more competitive. Our colleague, Tim Lewin, is working with a national group to propose alternative models to help the government be more efficient while providing some certainty for universities to conduct research. And we're engaging with other leading research universities, including the Association of American Universities, where I serve on the board, to propose viable solutions and protect our nation's system of university-based research, which has done so much for this country since World War II. Now, these cuts in indirect costs could be compounded by additional reductions in overall federal research funding that is currently being considered by the President and the House in Washington. So we need to be ready for the possibility of some belt-tightening. Tim Lewin, Tricia Chastain, and Provost Davis Nosmak are actively working with their teams to model potential scenarios and prepare for them. We're not there yet, like other universities are, but we need to get ready in case we need to make decisions. Other areas around research compliance that could create risks are evolving rules around collaborations with foreign institutions, foreign gifts, contracts, export control, cybersecurity, data protections, and more. Now, we have had already our own painful experiences in this area. You may recall, trigger warning, how about a year ago our instructional site in China was the subject of a congressional inquiry. We also face Department of Justice allegations about data protection systems in one lab. And we have done everything we can to be forthcoming, collaborative, and transparent in each one of these inquiries. But they are expensive, y'all. And they're time-consuming. And they carry significant risk. I just can't stress enough how much we all must do to do our part to minimize risk, to stay vigilant, to understand our own accountability in these matters. This is not the responsibility of just one department. Oh, that's the compliance department. No. This responsibility belongs to all of us. Each of us needs to do our part to comply. That means completing your annual training. I have done it. If I've done it, you can do it. Don't tell me you're too somebody's excited. I bet without hearing, I bet that's Danette. But also, I ask your collaboration to work with all the proper procedures, no matter how tedious they might seem. I want you to think critically about any risks related to your work, to make sure that your teams know that you take those risks very seriously. And in case of doubt, just ask for help. Now, to mitigate risks, we have set up some administrative protocols. And I know they're not very popular. I know that some of them create additional burdens on many of you. I've had an earful already from the faculty. So I get it. Trust me, we are fully committed to finding ways to streamline the processes, to reduce the strain however we can. If you encounter a cumbersome administrative procedure that you believe can be simplified, please let us know. But at the same time, I need you to understand that we put these protocols in place to protect the Institute. So let's keep working to reduce risk, try to make our lives simpler without sacrificing compliance. So this past year was not easy at all, and yet we managed to deliver record results. This coming year won't be any easier, but I am confident that we will once again navigate these troubled waters successfully. I am proud to work with one of the most capable, resourceful, committed, and resilient teams in higher education. That is our secret weapon. Congratulations on an extraordinary year, and I look forward to another exciting year at Georgia Tech. Thank you for everything that you do. And before I open for questions, I want to make one request and one special announcement. No, there's a video coming in a second. Sorry for that false start. First, the request. The request is that you lend your full, energetic, passionate support to the mighty Yellow Jacket athletic teams this season. As I said, athletic director Ryan Alpert savored his first win in Colorado last Friday. I was so happy to be there, surrounded by so many alums. Our volleyball team is already 4-0, and they have sold out the O'Keefe pressure cooker. Yes. Students, we have sold out the student section for football. This Saturday, we play at home, and Coach Key and the team are delighted that we're going to have a strong presence. But just in case, this is in the trust but verify category, Ryan and I have decided to bribe students with a little bit of pizza. So first 3,000 students to come in, and a free concert. This is going to be very, very fun. By the way, if you can't come to the stadium, please watch the game on TV and tell your friends to watch the game on TV. Turns out the ACC, this is inside baseball, the ACC revenue distribution now depends on viewership. So actually, even if you come to the stadium, leave your TV on. Just whatever. Anyway, I'm very, very, very excited. Okay, now the announcement. The video comes after. Sorry. I'm too excited about this. So no, this is, guys, this is so cool. It is so cool that it is a secret I haven't been able to keep over the last month. So this is the official announcement, and many of you are already fully aware of this, but in case you're not. A few months ago, the Georgia Tech Foundation, Al Trujillo, received notice that we had been designated to receive the estate of a man who had recently passed in Michigan. So as we learned more about this person and the magnitude of the gift, I was very moved and really deeply inspired by this. The name of this gentleman was John Durstein. He graduated from Georgia Tech in 1957. Emmy went on to get an MBA from Harvard, and then had a long and successful career with the Ford Motor Company. After he retired, he honed his skills as a keen and savvy investor. His savings started to grow, and he had to think what he was going to do with all the money, so he designated Georgia Tech, and more specifically the Woodruff School of Mechanical Engineering, as the sole beneficiary of his estate. The size of John's bequest to his alma mater turned out to be $100 million, the largest single gift we've ever received. So just picture John, who was honored by Georgia Tech over the years. But picture him in his apartment, investing his money carefully, seeing the balance grow, and thinking, he could have given this money to so many other places. And yet, when he reflected on his life, it was Georgia Tech that he wanted to help. The place that helped him grow, the place that launched him on a successful career path. I wish so badly I could have met John. I never met him. I have 100 million questions I would like to ask him. But it turns out he did not want me to know. I have come to learn that over years of discussions with his estate attorney, annual visits with Woodruff School chairs dating back to Ward Weiner and Bill Wepfer, then Sam Graham, the veteran John, conversations with the development officer Ann Dibble, he made it very clear that he did not want his plans to be known. He said, if you share this information, it goes to zero. So it was a very disciplined group here. He wanted to surprise his alma mater, and surprise us he did. So please join me again in a round of applause for Mr. Durstein and his incredible gift to Georgia Tech. it's really cool. I mean, I just cannot think of a better endorsement of what Georgia Tech has become than just the ultimate act of generosity. Great reminder that our work changes lives for the better, and great inspiration to keep doing what we do best, to develop leaders who advance technology and improve the human condition. Thank you all for your outstanding contributions in the name of progress and service, and go Jackets. And
this is John Durstein. Born in Birmingham, Alabama in 1935, he was admitted to Georgia Tech in 1952 and arrived on campus the next year. He thrived here. A regular on the dean's list, John Durstein graduated with honors in 1957. He was a hell of a mechanical engineer. After leaving Tech, he began a lifelong career with the Ford Motor Company in Michigan. He continued his education, earning a master's in business administration from Harvard University. For 32 years, he worked for Ford's heavy truck systems as an engineer and manager, but he remained close to his alma mater. In 2014, he was inducted into the College of Engineering's Hall of Fame. In 1978, he made his first donation of $100. Upon his passing, Durstein bestowed Georgia Tech with $100 million, the largest single gift in the history of the Institute. The money will support faculty, improve student experiences and opportunities, and bolster the innovation infrastructure on campus. John Durstein leaves a legacy of innovation, discovery, and generosity. He will forever and always be a Yellow Jacket, a tech man, and a hell of an engineer.
So President Cabrera, thank you so much for making time to sit down and answer some questions. We have about 15 minutes. We're going to try to get through as many of your questions as possible. I want to start right at the top with, so numerous national surveys from AAU to Gallup have shown that the public has lost confidence in higher ed institutions. Similarly, actions by the federal government have demonstrated a general lack of confidence. How is Georgia Tech responding to these concerns, and what do you believe that higher ed institutions need to do to rebuild that trust?
Well, thank you for starting with the easy questions. So, listen, I think we should not be surprised by this level of government scrutiny in higher education. I've been going to AAU meetings for years. I've been going to APLU meetings for years. We've seen those graphs of American responses. Do you trust in your universities? Those numbers have been on the decline. By the way, we had a positive this year for the first time. They stopped declining, but they're still very low. So we've known this for a long time. And when you take a closer look to those numbers, there are two sets of questions that Americans have about universities. And it's not all partisan, by the way. The first category is quite bipartisan. There's a growing question, especially about elite universities, that they may not care about normal people, to help normal people grow, that questions about the value of a college degree, and so on. And then there is, and those are questions that are very bipartisan. The other one is more prevalent among Republican voters, but is very, very consistent, which is the sense that universities may have become too politicized, too biased, maybe too hostile to conservative ideas, and we need to be aware of and responsive to that. So this is not just a question of how do we avoid government scrutiny and come out of this with minimal damage. We have to understand where this is coming from and react to it. On the first set of questions, the issues about elite universities not caring or not adding value to normal people. I think we have an awesome story to tell, and I hope everybody will help tell that story. Number one school in value for students, return on the investment, and growing faster than anybody else. That's crazy, y'all. I mean, nobody can claim that. We are serving more and more students. You would say, well, if you're serving more students, maybe you're creating less value. Well, how about number one in return from the investment? Increase outcomes, increase graduation rates, increase value, and a true effort every year to make room for more students. Okay? That is a story that needs to be told. We care about, we measure our success by the impact that we have. The other one, I think we've made a lot of progress, but I need everybody's help. We need to continue to work very hard to make sure Georgia Tech is an example of a place where all ideas are welcome. You don't come to college to have your ideas somehow reaffirmed, to become even more, you come to college to question your ideas, to be exposed to other ideas, to have difficult, constructive dialogue with others. So everybody needs to be part of this. To model how we can engage in that constructive civic dialogue about difficult issues, and to make sure that even the people that we invite, that we are an example. I feel very good about the things that even student engagement and well-being is doing and other parts of the Institute to even have modules and training for our students, but everybody needs to be part of that. So it is our responsibility to make sure we earn the trust of the people that we serve.
Let's stay focused on the federal government. We have received numerous questions from faculty regarding what have we done to support faculty members or graduate students who potentially lost their funding, and what sort of kind of safeguards are we putting in place to help with any potential future cuts?
So we are, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, we are, Tim Lewin, he's fully aware, Tricia, Carrie, our senior team, they're fully aware of the issues. They're working with deans. We're trying to figure out, is there some alternative source to at least make sure that those affected faculty and their grad students don't suffer. GTRI, as I mentioned, in some cases GTRI is able to engage some faculty members who may have lost their funding. But the other big thing that we're doing is we're not bystanders of this. We are in it. We are part of working out a solution with the government. I mean, I mentioned how Tim is part of this national group that is proposing a solution. Tim and I were in the White House with Chancellor Perdue, by the way, who helped us set up a meeting, talking with the OMB to try to understand, okay, what is it you're trying to accomplish? What is it that worries you? And to try to figure out, okay, can we offer solutions to the government that helps them meet their goals and not really hurt our research infrastructure. So we're trying to minimize the pain as much as we can internally, but I think most importantly, we're trying to be part of finding a national solution. This is a big deal for the country.
So let's talk about growth. A faculty member from Scheller submitted the following question on growth. We all understand that it's a challenge to calibrate enrollment growth with campus capacity. Where do you think we are with regards to balancing the two at this moment? And where do you see us headed with regards to supply and demand for housing, classrooms, faculty, dining, et cetera?
So I had made a deal with Steve McLaughlin that we would take a breather at 4,000 students. Steve is gone. Sorry. Sorry, Carrie. No. So no. Seriously, no. We are. Our plan is to take a breather. I mean, this has been a lot from entering freshman class of 3,000 to 4,000 in just 5-6 years. This has been a lot. So our plan is to take a breather and allow some of our resources to catch up. But we need to be open to, I have no idea how the applications are going to come back this year. If we go from 67 to 80,000 applications, are we going to admit the same number of students and now become the #1 most selective university in the country? So we may need to reconsider that. But hopefully we can take that breather as promised. But meanwhile, there's some assets that are coming online this year that I think will relieve a little bit of the pressure. I mentioned the new dorms. I mentioned the new academic facilities in Tech Square, DM Smith, and others. So I think there's some help along the way. The timing of the cuts is not helpful in terms of faculty resources, because we're going to have to be very cautious about growth. So there is going to be pain, but I think in some areas we may see some relief.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about international students. It has been a difficult year for international students. We saw in the spring where visas were revoked. We're now seeing potential tightening of visa durations. Do you have thoughts on this? What are we doing to support our international students and faculty?
I have lots of thoughts. I am one of those. So this is personal to me. I mean, you all know, or many of you know my story. I mean, I came to this country as a graduate student, international graduate student, to come to Georgia Tech. That's how I came to this country in the first place. And I know very well, I mean, I went to the best engineering school in Spain. Everybody's dream was to pursue grad school in the United States. So I'm very sensitive and also very appreciative that it is one of the biggest assets that our country has. Think about it. It's like being in the NBA, and every year, year after year, you have first draft pick. You get to choose the smartest people in the country to bring them to your universities, to do research, to help your system of science and technology, to become entrepreneurs, to become CEOs of Microsoft, Google, whatever it is. So we need to protect that. I'm not willing to give that first draft pick privilege away. So we need to do what we can. Now, there's a part of this which is policy. We don't control policy. We can inform policy. We can have a voice. Why is this so important? Another part of this, we can be a part of the solution, which is the brand. We may have sent a message to other parts of the world that we're not interested in international students coming here. We need to do everything we can to show the love. Georgia Tech, America is open for business. If you have talent, if you have great ideas, we want you here. So even our international office, Bernard and others, we need to make sure we keep sending that message everywhere.
Okay, a majority of the questions we received are on return to the office and parking.
Tricia.
Do you have thoughts on either of the two things? You probably.
I do.
Yeah.
So listen, I know how much disturbance. I mean, after the COVID years, and some people have organized their lives in different ways, and this change is not fun. I get that, but let's look at the bigger picture. Every organization in the country is struggling with this in the post-COVID world. Some organizations said, hey, let's all go virtual. And they're paying a price in the strength of their culture, the innovation, the unplanned collisions between people. Obviously, we've gone the other way as a university system. And of course, there is a risk that we pay a price in terms of occasionally losing valuable people that we're not going to be able to retain. So I get that. But there's no easy solution. And our university system has made one choice in that continuum, which is we're going to be working on campus. Obviously, there are some exceptions when business demands it, but it's got to be narrow exceptions. We're committed. We're part of this. Let's embrace the value of this. It's not going to, again, for some people, it's going to disturb their lifestyle. But there is a lot of value for us as an organization, for students, the way we serve our students, the way we innovate, the way we collaborate. Being present on campus is very important. And as of parking, I know you guys are going to hate me, but I've never had a parking problem.
Because you ride your bike.
I ride my bike, and then I have this, the best thing about being Georgia Tech president, I get to park everywhere. So the police chief has told me, no, seriously, I need to learn more. I'm actually working with Tricia and trying to understand more to see, but we need to look at real numbers. The first few weeks have been a little bit weird because parkings were open, some of the gate systems weren't working, so it's still unclear where the pain points are. I'm saying I'm aware of the pain. I'm working with Tricia and the team, and hopefully we'll have some to report back.
Great. Final question. What are you most excited about in this next academic year? A
lot. I mean, so first, super excited about finishing some of those construction projects. I love like the bike lanes, which, as you know, I'm a big user of. I love that those have been finished. I love that really that the big dig in Harrison Square was finally fixed. Stephen, your team, thank you. I'm very, very excited about, I mean, I've gotten to tour the Schiller and George Towers. They are amazing. I mean, that's going to be a super, super addition to our campus. I've gotten to tour the Fanning Center, huge asset to recruit amazing student athletes. So I'm very, very excited. DM Smith is going to be great. I think first renovation in the last 400 years or something. So glad we were able to finish. So I'm very excited about that. But no, seriously, what I'm most excited about is I mean, if I think about last year and all the headwinds we faced and all the issues and political issues that we faced and how this team got together and delivered. I didn't make any of those numbers up, guys. I mean, that's real. Record number, students served, research, outcomes for students, donations. These are, think about the donations. In an environment where Americans are mistrusting the universities, our alumni are sending us more checks than ever. So I love that. And what I'm excited is, yes, it's going to be hard. I don't want to give the wrong impression. We are facing some headwinds. It's going to be a difficult year, but I'm excited that I get to work with really one of the best teams in American higher education, and I can't wait to see what we achieve this year.
Well, this leadership comes from the top, so thank you for showing up every single day with your very best self, because we really appreciate everything you've done this last year for the Institute as well.
Thank you, Abigail.
So,
Much appreciated. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.